If you carry a firearm and discharge your weapon in self-defense, you could face hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees and expenses. So carry the protection of CCW Safe, Self-Defense Legal Services membership. Upfront payment of all criminal and civil defense costs with no out-of-pocket for members.
Are back. I'm Chris Evan, the CEO of Survival Dispatch, joined tonight by my good friend Randy Nance back home in Texas, combat wounded Green Beret, and below us, CIA Jeff MD, author extraordinaire, 26-year CIA case officer, affectionately known in-house as 007. Speaking of 007s, I spoke to 00711 several times today, and Clede will be back next week. It'll be good to see him on a regular basis. Absolutely. He's been on quite the roller coaster ride. So tonight, the main topic in our Long War series is the new Mason-Dixon Line. But before we get into that, you know what? Let's put this to an audience poll. I have a gazillion crazy tabs open from stuff that's on X that's happened in the past, 36 hours since the peaceful protester got shot in Minneapolis. If you want to see all of that and then the main topic, put a 1 in the live chat. If you just want a reasonably short sit rep, go ahead and put a 0 in the live chat. Here's the deal though. If we do both, it probably means Randy and Jeff will have to leave early. That's okay. I can finish up the main topic myself, but I'll let you guys make the call on that. But before we do that, let's knock out the conflicted question tonight. If you're not familiar with this, conflictedthegame.com. These are 14 card decks set in post-apocalyptic scenarios. Most of the questions have some element of morality, hence the name conflicted. Morgan's neighbors turned against one another when food and water started running low. Whoever had more than the rest was targeted for redistribution. If you were in Morgan's situation, what advice would you give your neighbors about their behavior? In an emergency situation, should people with more supplies give up what they have to satisfy the needs of those around them? That's an interesting question. We haven't had this question before. Definitely.
Well, the funny thing is, as we know over time, if we look back, people get very creative in how they hide stuff. And in this case, you better get very creative.
Yeah, I mean, I quite potentially could be a real world situation, not a big stretch of the imagination. What's our, for those of you who've been following us for any period of time, know that Dr. Mike and I are really, really deep into our next comms. It's not going to be a comms video. It's going to be a series of comms videos, and it's going to be a series of articles. And we're this close. So there were some things that have been on back order that I guess we don't need, but we want to have to show y'all before we roll stuff out. So I'm going to give you a sneak peek on just a small piece of this. It's 53 seconds long, and I'll give you a couple comments on it afterwards, but it's pretty self-explanatory.
Superintendent MP1 DXG, typically a vertical whip. As you can see, I modified the janky connections on it with a chameleon blank and a chameleon hub for the radials, which accept banana clips. Took the way overpriced superintendent tripod out of the equation. This tripod here, 13 feet high. It's meant to have production lights on it. 85 bucks. The one from superintendent, over $200. Just a sloppy, janky piece of shit. Haven't spent any time tuning the coil. Literally just set it up there and check this out. SWR of 1.16. Absolutely amazing.
So for those of you who don't know, Randy was an Echo. He was a comms expert when he was in the Green Berets. When he was a Green Beret, pardon me. Randy, how good is that in SWR 1.16 with zero effort?
Well, it's going to be pretty clear, isn't it? That's you want the obviously less is better here, and so I think that's outstanding. And we were in special forces, right? That's if you're going to say he was in, you're right. It's not Green Berets. He was in special forces. And the funny thing is, it's only my modern days like me and forward. The Vietnam era guys hate being called Green Berets. They want to be called special forces. It was just a beret to them. They didn't give two craps about it, really. They want to be called special forces. So it's kind of funny how that dynamic works. All your Vietnam veterans, that's exactly how. But you move a little bit beyond that, and certainly somewhere in the Cold War, that changed. And I think it was sincerely the song is kind of what gave that perception to the public anyway. And I think everybody grew up listening to that song, thought the same thing.
And it's the movie with John Wayne.
Right.
If John Wayne was a Green Beret,
that's
darn it, I'm going to be one too.
That is too funny. My brother-in-law lives in Texas, well, not too far from Randy, in Waxahachie. When you walk into his house, there's everything from paintings to photographs to stuff on the desks of John Wayne. He's an awesome father. And first time we went to his new house, this is going back like 20 years ago. He's like, "Yeah, do you see any pictures of my kids?" And I'm like, "No, what's up with that?" He says, "John Wayne's #1 in this house." So I've never seen a bigger John Wayne fan ever. Briefly back to that video before we get into the first insanity stuff. Randy will tell you, when you set an antenna up vertically for shortwave HF, the signals go out horizontally. So to hit the ionosphere, it's got to go all the way to where the Earth falls off, basically, before it comes back down again. If we were going to communicate with Khalid in Pakistan, I measured this out, by the way, it would only be 6 hops. It would hit the ionosphere, come back down to the ground, bounce up again to the ionosphere, be 6 hops with a high-power radio and a vertical antenna, a big vertical antenna. That antenna I just showed y'all is not meant to be mounted horizontally, but horizontally gives you a really steep angle, and that's how you hit people close, especially inside of a few hundred miles, called NVIS, near vertical. Anyway, with that being said, man, I got some crazy stuff queued up here, and it looks like the majority of people out there, they want it all. So I don't know. Here we go. Prepare for the insanity. Let me get the next one shared.
All right. Late night for you.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm used to it. All right. So I'll be honest with you, I don't remember this one. I think my page just refreshed, but whatever. But 10 seconds, it must be good.
Oh, man. You two need to get out of my restaurant. You love the food, love the vibe, but out there you harass my staff and my neighbors. Hypocrites, both of you. Take your business somewhere else. Good, get them out of here.
I don't know if that's a real video, to be honest with you.
I have a feeling it's either AI or staged.
Yeah. I again, this is not one that I specifically had queued up. When I went to this tab while I was talking to y'all, it refreshed. That looks like AI to me. I've got a pretty good eye for that stuff. But let me go to the next one here. Give me 2 seconds to get it queued up. I'm not sure why, but everything's refreshing in Chrome on me right now. All right, let's go to this one next.
ICE arrest in the Twin Cities is leading to even more charges.
This home security video shows a driver taking off during a traffic stop, dragging a deportation officer with him. New at 10, WCCO's Uba Ali walks us through this video and the political firestorm behind it.
What began as a planned federal immigration arrest took a violent turn in this quiet Bloomington neighborhood. And it was all caught on camera. According to a federal complaint, agents were executing a warrant for 39-year-old Roberto Carlos Munoz. They say Munoz entered the country unlawfully, and he also pled guilty to 4th-degree criminal sexual conduct back in 2023 for abusing a minor. Tuesday morning, agents pulled him over. Court documents say he repeatedly refused to comply before a federal agent took out his spring-loaded window punch with his right hand and broke the driver's side rear window. These images show the officer's hand in the vehicle. In this video, you can see the driver take off with the agent hanging from the car, dragging him 300 feet through front yards.
So there's a reason that I brought this up. This gentleman here that you can see, they didn't show his face back then, That's the cop who shot the girl yesterday. So I'm not saying that it provides justification or anything like that, but this is what these guys have been dealing with. I don't know if you guys want to comment on it all, but you got to have some element of PTSD from that, right?
More than anything, you're going to be very leery of somebody with a car driving at you or driving, someone's already used a car as a weapon against him once this year in the last year. Now it's twice. So yeah, I can see he might be a little gun shy, no pun intended.
Well, yeah, well said.
Well, it's the kind of behavior you see when they've been emboldened, right? I mean, now it's like ICE are the bad guys, so you can do whatever it is to get away or get in their way. It's just it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And again, we said it all along, and this will continue to escalate like this because, people are interfering, and then you have people acting like that guy and then think, they're just going to run people over or drag an officer along. Even the fake video, you can tell it's fake because they wouldn't have reacted that way. And that's definitely a go straight to jail, no passing go, don't collect your $200. For sure. So this next one here, meet Gia, an employee at Hilton Hotels Anatole in Dallas. Yesterday, she posted a TikTok, apparently thinking it would be noble to dox ICE agents staying at the hotel and put their lives as well as the safety of other hotel guests in danger. 32 seconds.
Hey guys, my name is Gia, and I just wanted to give a warning to y'all that there are ICE agents staying at the Hilton Anatole in Dallas. Quite frankly, I don't really care if I lose my job because I could get in trouble for posting this, but honestly, I don't care because I care more about your families and about unity. So please warn your family if you or somebody who works here is worried about their immigration status. Please let them know. Okay, the Hilton Anatole in Dallas.
Wow. Jeff, I got to come to you first on this. What are the potential charges on that?
Well, she just basically said they were there. I don't know if there can be charges necessarily, but I'm sure Hilton will fire her ass in a heartbeat because they're just trying to get over the whole Hampton Inn nonsense up in Minnesota. And now you got this. Because the last thing they want is for the federal government to say, okay, Hilton hotels are no longer available for government employees to use on government travel. That would cost them millions and millions of dollars because the federal government people travel a lot. I traveled all the time. And they always sign up for these honors things and these reward things because as long as you're going to be away from your family, you might as well get, some little perk out of it if you can. But I'll tell you what, the GSA is just going to say no longer available. Hilton needs to get their shit together.
Hilton, one of the hotels where there's been a recent incident, they went in and pulled their sign down today.
Yeah, that's the one up in Minnesota.
Minnesota, yeah. Randy, I don't know if you want to add anything to that or not, but that's pretty irresponsible to be giving out the location of officers like that.
She absolutely deserves to be fired at the very least. I mean, she already said she didn't care if she got fired, but then everything that she said beyond that made no sense and it wasn't even logical. There is nothing about this that's protecting families. There's nothing about this that's unity. But unity is not allowing every Tom, Dick, and Harry from every poor country in the world that has no skills just to come on in. That was never the deal.
Before we play this next one, I want to mention that our good friend JJ Carroll, you can watch his videos on all of our channels, Survival Dispatch channels. 24 years CBP officer. Most of you guys, retired CBP officer. Most of you guys know him. He's an ICE officer now. Many of you know that as well. You want to talk about a true American? He asked to be deployed to Minneapolis. Probably a 90% chance he's going to be deployed to Minneapolis. So stay tuned on that. If so, he'll clearly be in harm's way. All right, next one up. It's time for everyone to start getting guns and shooting these ICE agents. I'm telling you right now, this is a mentally ill woman taking testosterone who thinks she's a dude. course, the cow ring in the nose is kind of a dead giveaway, but the voice is a dead giveaway as well. 52 seconds.
We, the people, need to start taking back this country, and immediately, because they have corrupt, fake-ass people in these placements like ICE that are allowed to be masked, covered, not identify, do whatever the fuck.
See those eyes right there? That's what I've now started calling SSRI eyes. I've been poking people for SSRIs for years. But when people have anxiety and other mental problems and they get prescribed SSRIs, it actually exacerbates their problem. It causes suicidal ideation, homicidal ideation. But the biggest thing, the noticeable thing is the eyes. It always the eyes.
They want and murder people without knowing who they're killing, just killing civilians. And Trump's okay with this and is allowing this to happen, and it's now happening all over in the Midwest. This is not okay. What the fuck, America and Americans? How stupid are we to keep allowing this to happen? I say it's time for everybody to start getting guns and start coming out of their houses and start shooting these fucking ICE agents in the head when they start trying to take over people.
Ooh. All right. So any potential charges in that one, Jeff?
Well, not a lawyer, but I would think, yeah, that's basically a death threat or encouraging other people to take violent action. Yeah, that can get you put in jail. It's right up there with these, someone gets online and befriends somebody and then convinces them to commit suicide and they do. Well, you can be held responsible for that.
Right.
But this one's either, like you say, either a tranny or gay, obviously, with all the, almost like a black woman's mannerisms, which is fine if you're a black woman, but not if you're a white dude. It doesn't make much sense. And I saw something today, actually, in one of your videos. The nose ring is called the mental illness identity bracelet.
I like that. We're going to have to adopt that.
That's not me. It was one of the videos you showed. And I scrolled down, and that's what someone had put in there.
Go. That's awesome. Randy?
Well, again, party of love, right? And party of acceptance and all this stuff.
Tolerance.
I mean, yeah, the tolerance, everything's good. I mean, what an idiot. What a flaming idiot. And clearly, the problem is, though, and the reason we're watching it, and this thing probably went viral because, if you post something patriotic or about Jesus or anything like that, it all gets just crushed and put down and slid out to the side and gets no traction. But all your social media places will make sure everybody sees this fucking stupid guy when, he should be put in jail for what he just said, because that is threatening violence on federal officers. And then, of course, he makes it seem like federal officers we don't even know who they are. These are just anybody. And now they're killing all kinds of folks and they don't even know who they are. It's complete garbage.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of complete garbage, check this dude out. This psycho says, after this Minnesota thing, I'm really questioning when the left is going to start playing Papa Cop. I am Antifa, he says. 10 seconds.
After this Minnesota thing, I'm really questioning when the left's going to start playing Papa Cop.
Look, you can see this dude's eyes even when he's looking sideways. Look at this. Look at the eyes. SSRI, our eyes.
Tag DHS. I am Antifa.
We got to listen to that last piece.
Tag DHS. I am Antifa.
Whew. Jeff, your thoughts on that, dude? You're on mute, Jeff.
I mean, the irony is he's saying, oh, Papa Cop. Well, he's going to pop cop in, say, I don't know, Minneapolis, where the cops aren't helping ICE at all anyway. And then if he lives in a city where they are helping ICE, he's probably won't live in that city because he's a freaking screaming leftist and doesn't want to live in a sane place. But again, he's encouraging violence and, could be arrested for that.
Yeah. Remigration, accountability, the 2 words of 2026. Randy, what do you think of that guy making threats like that?
Well, I'm just like, sooner or later, it seems like, the law would start coming back the other direction, or the pendulum would swing back to the, holding people accountable. But again, he's just another douchebag. And clearly today you can get on the internet on any social media platform, and there's like 50 of them now, and say whatever you want and just post it out there and like it's the truth. And, he may be Antifa, and if he is, he's a dumbass for coming out and saying it. But, the reality is we haven't arrested any of them folks either.
We did. We arrested a handful. Jeff, do you remember where it was that got sentenced maybe a month or two ago? It was,
yeah, but I mean on like a large scale.
Yeah.
Let's go crack
Yeah,
down.
they did that 10 or 12 down in Texas where they attacked the I think it was that ICE detention facility.
Yeah.
So then they attacked the one in Dallas itself, and the only one they killed was an illegal alien being held.
It's a true story. I forgot about that. Well, speaking of douchebags, Randy, check this out. Liberals are now making threats against ICE after yesterday's incident in Minnesota. These people do realize that their aggression towards ICE agents is what created this entire situation. They don't seem to understand that if they don't stalk, harass, and obstruct ICE while threatening and degrading them, this never happens at all. This is on the liberals, and it appears as they are about to double down on the insanity. Watch this guy's eyes as well. He's got the SSRI eyes.
Listen, ICE, if you show up in my neighborhood in the same way that you are unaliving American citizens who pose no threat and abducting people without due process, I will do the same to you. I encourage everyone who sees this video to bear arms and practice your Second Amendment right. It's time to fight fire with fire. Let these fuckers know who has the power.
Alrighty then.
Well, I remember back in the day when there was, now I never did, and I can honestly say that because I didn't care, but there was gay bashing, right? And the gay community would regularly get their ass whooped by straight guys. Well, guess what? Why do you think they came up and made it a hate crime? So now we're watching all these gay people say, oh, they're going to come out and take it to ICE. Good luck.
Yeah. Well, the guns though, right? Jeff.
Well, yeah, and Randy's right about the whole gay bashing thing. And they say, well, because the gay community needs to be protected. I think ICE guys can pretty well handle themselves. I would not draw down on someone who regularly shoots and goes through shoot houses and does stress inoculation all the freaking time. Not a smart move, but that's like going up to, a 300-pound black guy, calling him the N-word, have him beat your ass, and then cry victim. It's like, could have prevented this by not calling him the N-word. Just saying.
Yeah, it doesn't take a rocket scientist, right? Listen to this next soy boy here. Masked trans femme, pardon my French, whatever the fuck that means. Antifa goo from Portland, Oregon, issues death threat to ICE agent who shot a woman that tried to run him over. We have your face. We will get justice for a fallen comrade, whether it be judicial justice or street justice. 56 seconds.
To the ICE agent that murdered that unarmed civilian in Minneapolis, we have your face. We have pictures of you. We will get justice for a fallen comrade, whether it be judicial justice or street justice. Depends on whether or not you turn yourself in and admit to your crime. That wasn't self-defense. That was murder. And you know it was murder. Don't put it off as self-defense.
Look at did you all watch the eyes again?
Yeah.
I mean, look at this.
I don't think he blinked.
Look at his hands.
Yeah, whatever.
Scroll forward and look when he puts his hands up, or puts his hands up, whatever it is. It's like painted fingernails.
Yeah.
Sorry, not afraid of any dude who paints his fingernails.
There you go.
Just
Right
saying.
there. There you go.
I was like, dude, does this guy even have a heartbeat? I mean, what are you going to do, pal? You can't even put a sentence that takes about 5 seconds to say it. You drag it out for 30 seconds. I mean, his tempo was just a little low, wasn't it?
Well, that might be a low testosterone effect, right?
No, I think it's whatever drugs he's on. I mean, that's not normal behavior.
Look at the eyes. I'm telling you, it's like clockwork. Those are SSRI eyes if I've ever seen them.
Or worse. Who knows what this person's on?
Well, whatever he's on, it's a downer. It's not an upper.
That's right. That's exactly right.
I could say something about what he's on, but I'm going to contain myself.
He's probably on hormones.
Next one up.
Or she switchers or whatever it is.
Holy smokes, a leftist just assaulted border commander Greg Bovino in Minnesota, but he took no BS. She shoves him. Bovino out of the way, takes matters into his own hands, throws her to the ground. It's 2 minutes and 14 seconds. We're not going to watch the whole 2 minutes and 14 seconds because it doesn't.
You watch him throw her to the ground?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all that matters.
That's what I'm going to stop it.
Yeah. Okay.
Out of the way. Out of the way. Get out of the way.
So he's on top. There he is right there, but he was on top of her.
Go back.
You don't get to see much. He's got his knee on her there, but he was the one who the force put her down. And Father Duck, as always, thank you very much for your generosity. We appreciate it. Randy, what do you think of that? That's awesome. The commander, that guy's a true alpha male.
Well, I always go back to, I just can't believe this is where we are in this day and time in this country. You know what I mean? That people think they can go out and get in the middle of and hinder and, what else is it called? There's a charge for it, but
obstruction
of justice. I mean, they're actually getting in the way of law enforcement because, they've somehow been convinced that it's okay to do so. And until more, we've watched them kind of get pushed all along, but somewhere, somehow they're going to have to get the message across. You don't do this. And if you do this, this is what happens. And when you get your ass beat, when you get thrown on the ground, when you get shot dead, it's your own damn fault. You shouldn't have been there to begin with.
Yeah, true story. So I've got to get caught up on all the censorship going on YouTube before you go, Jeff. So when you said, he was on something and I was going to say something, I decided not to. Well, Tammy K6708 said exactly what I was thinking. She says he's on deck. And it got censored. Screw you, Commie Tube. I just approved that one. I'll try to approve as many as I can, but
she ain't wrong.
Yeah, boy, howdy. Greg Bovino taking care of business. Jeff, tell me that's not awesome, dude.
Well, that's awesome. And I think what they need to do is go back to the good old days of policing where you did that kind of crap and you interfere with cops. They got the nightsticks out and tuned your ass up. And not only did you go to jail, you went to jail sore because they thumped your head with a nightstick several times.
So I was talking with JJ Carroll on the phone. I was like, do you ever wish that we could go back to like 1980s style, 70s, 80s style policing for some of these assholes? I'm not going to tell you what his answer was.
I know what his answer was.
But we're not going to say it because that way Commie Tube can't say that we're breaking the rules, which we break the rules every night. But anyway, radical left Karen outside Whipple Ice Facility screams at DHS agents, "Shoot me!" CBP agents naturally stay professional. She keeps daring them like it's a game. Insanity on full display, 24 seconds. Turn your volume up. Go ahead and shoot me.
Shoot her with a pepper ball.
That's what I was going to say, or wound her a little bit, and then watch how she I can't believe you shot me.
Cry like a little bitch.
Take another look at the eyes. I'm telling you, we have an epidemic of mental illness that's been compounded by pharmaceuticals that amplify their craziness. Randy, what do you think? What do you think of that? I know the volume was low. I couldn't do anything about it. It's the way it is on that particular video. But she says, "Shoot me, shoot me. I'm your grandmother." My grandmother would never behave like this, bro.
No, my grandmother would not have been out there doing that. I'm sorry, neither one of mine. Well, maybe not. One of my mom's side might have been. She was definitely a liberal, but my grandmother that I was closest to, my dad's side, absolutely not. They were Republicans, and the only Democrat her and my grandfather ever voted for was John F. Kennedy. So,
yeah. So, Randy, golly.
But you know what? This is also, look, if you look at her, just like all the rest of them, and we've talked about it before, there is such thing as a mob mentality because we all have a spiritual side, and somehow that matters in a mob. And that's how people got hung by mobs back in the day that didn't deserve it. Because once that takes over, people do things they wouldn't normally do. So
Casper says, by the way, that old lady is a paid agitator, is at every protest. Would not be surprised. Sorry, Jeff accidentally clicked on you instead of Randy previously.
Someone needs to give her what she wants and shoot her with a pepper ball. But these people, they're just, I think he's probably right. He probably is a paid agitator. They have nothing better to do with their lives than to go out and just scream and yell at people. It is the mob mentality. These are the same people who rolled out the guillotines during the French Revolution. They were just, calling for blood, any blood. And as far as grandparents goes, both of mine were Democrats, my grandmothers, but they were not liberal Democrats. They were Southern Dixiecrats.
Yeah.
They were probably further to the right than Attila the Hun. But as my grandfather said, he said, I said, you're conservative. Why are you a Democrat? And he says, because Abraham Lincoln was a Republican and he was still fighting the Civil War.
That's interesting. I would argue that when, our parents and grandparents grew up in somebody, maybe not all the time, most of the time Democrats, they would have fallen center right for politics. They weren't left wing. They were still on the right, just maybe not as far right as Republicans. Either way, it's all a bunch of bad actors, two different sides of the same coin. So check this out. Hello, FBI. This TikToker appears to be plotting to kill Trump. He updated TikTok 2 days ago that he has arrived in DC. He's being vague, but based on all the comments, everyone knows exactly what he's talking about. Might want to look into this ASAP. So the first video is his New Year's resolution.
Happy New Year's, everybody. I decided I'm going to be the one to do it. They tried to take this video down multiple times. I'm letting everyone know. Since no one else is going to do it, I am going to be the one to do it.
So that's his New Year's resolution. And here's 2 days ago.
Firstly, I want to thank everybody that pitched in order to make this possible. I see a lot of people asking if I'm serious, if I'm really going to do it. Look where I am.
Okay, I got to go to Jeff first on this one. Potential for charges. You're on mute, Jeff.
Yeah, he doesn't say what it is. It could be, yes, I'm going to go to DC for the first time and, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, because he left it nebulous, now it's really hard to charge him on it. But I tell you what, if I was a Secret Service agent and I saw that guy walking up, I might have my hand on my gun.
Yeah. Randy, besides a thorough beating, what else should happen to this guy?
Well, I mean, they ran down all the January 6 people easy enough, didn't they? And here somehow this guy, no different than Cooks. There's no doubt if all the protocols were followed and all the safety measures were in place for the Secret Service and they were fully flush as they should have been in Butler, Pennsylvania, Cooks would have never even made it to that building to get on the roof at all. Period. He should have never been able to get there. Where his van was pulled, where he got out and walked, he would have never been able to get to. So the fact is they're just letting these folks walk around because they should have caught him. And yeah, we should go back to at least 80s, maybe even before that, because Secret Service wouldn't have just had their handler gun. They would have brought this guy into a back room and tuned him up real good.
Hey, we've got some breaking news here, by the way. Let me get this up on screen quickly. All right, so here we go. Breaking: federal border agents have just shot 2 people in Portland. Holy crap, the violence only getting worse. Pray for these agents. This is Portland. The left is very violent here. 42 seconds.
That train is still running at.
I apologize when somebody uploads a video and the volume's that low. You got no choice but to turn up. If you look in the corner here, I've got it on full volume.
As we have been seeing while we're out here. But again, we are still waiting on more information. Traffic is slow moving in all directions besides the closed lane. But again, neighbors here are urged to use caution in the area. So we will be sticking out here, of course, getting more.
So they don't have any additional information other than 2 of them shot. Randy, I'll go to you first while you're talking. I'm going to go see if I can quickly find something that's got better audio and more details.
Yeah, I was trying to scroll back because somebody mentioned this about 10 minutes ago in the comments, and I thought they said it was by CBP, but I don't know. I can't find it now. But, it's just like what we've been saying. The reality is, as long as the media and the left keeps saying, I'm talking about, as you know, I don't see right now, but I'm talking about those politicians on the Hill that are constantly every day coming out and saying this is illegal, that's illegal when it's not. And they're helping push this violent rhetoric and have been for 15 years. It's finally coming to roost.
Yeah, it sure is. I'm still on the hunt for something good here. But Jeff, your comments on that?
Well, yeah, we don't have the details yet, so we really can't comment about this intelligently, but that's never stopped me before. Actually, I've never commented intelligently before of something like that. Anyway, if this is what we think it is, I'm not surprised. And it may be just that they were trying to apprehend a violent felon, and the violent felon got violent.
I
think the only reason we're not seeing more of these like trendy Aragua guys and people like that taking shots at ICE is because ICE does go in strong. They'll go in with 10, 15 guys. And people say, oh, they're Nazis. Just no, they're going in with a show of force so they don't get shot. And that's why SWAT teams go like that too.
So I'm trying to get pieces of it here while we're doing the show, but the 2 people shot, husband and wife, Hispanics, they're both expected to live. So I'll keep hunting for whatever I can find. But seen in Minneapolis, left-wing agitators threaten the lives of our immigration officials. Pardon my French. We're going to fucking find you and we're going to fucking kill you. You're going to fucking die, bitch. Directly inspired by Democrat politicians, 54 seconds. I probably won't play the whole thing because the audio, I'm telling you right now, isn't great on this one either. Okay, Jeff, I got to come back to you on this. I mean, I don't know if you could hear it, but freaking people who upload these shit videos with no volume, culpability for saying we're going to fucking kill you.
Well, when you're doing that to someone who's obviously a federal employee, yeah, they should be arrested. That's making a terroristic threat. People do it. They're going to get on there and say they're going to kill the president. They get arrested. As you get people to, showing up at their doorstep. These people are doing it live in person in front of the people's face. I mean, I would think they should definitely be, wrapped up, taken downtown.
Yeah, at the very least, right? Randy, your thoughts on these lunatics calling for murder, killing?
Those people absolutely need to be arrested and then also tried and convicted and put in jail or fined to the maximum extent of both for these. And until that starts happening, these paid protesters, which these probably aren't going to go away. And in my opinion, ICE isn't rolling heavy enough. Yeah, they've got 10 or 15 guys, but let's just take a little walk down history lane. Remember Roger Stone?
Yep.
Remember Del Mar-Lago? Let's go. Who else? There was a pastor that was praying or singing or something in front of an abortion clinic, and they showed up at 5 or 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning with 50 guys to pick those dudes up for no reason except to show a force for the TV. And that was the left and Obama and the Biden people doing that stuff. When are we going to start doing that? Why are they rolling this light Go in there with 50 dudes. Make sure.
Yeah, they arrest these people, try and convict them, and throw them in to the county jail, Gen Pop. Not any of these, not in these little country club jails. I don't know if you've ever been in jail. It isn't pleasant. And I tell you, the place you don't want to be is the county jail in a big metropolitan area. You want to be in a federal prison. I've been through federal prisons. You could eat off the floors in that place.
Hey, Randy, I mean, are you getting this vibe like Jeff has a jail story that he doesn't want to tell us, but he'll allude to it?
Jail. I'll admit it.
No way.
Woodruff County, Arkansas, 1981.
Oh my God.
For what?
Yeah.
Jaywalking or what was it?
No, minor possession of alcohol.
I was assaulted by a guy at a gas station. I was on my motorcycle in Carlisle, Arkansas in 1991. And they took me to the county jail and held me most of the night. It's a long story. It's a crazy story. I'll tell it sometime. That's the one and only time. I was never charged with anything. The guy who assaulted me was dealing drugs. He'd take his hat off, and inside, the loop around it inside, he had like crack cocaine and shit. And you can't make this stuff up. That's all I'm going to tell the story. He took it off as I'm trying to leave the where I was paying for it. And he says, hey man, take any 3 rocks that you want. I'm like, yeah, I don't do drugs. He's like, no, you don't understand. You're going to take 3 of these. I'm going to give you the best blowjob you've ever had in your life. And
oh, no.
I mean, I was a super big dude at the time. I mean, I've competed all the way up to 275 pounds. I took that guy and threw him into the tempered glass window, and he bounced off it like a ping pong ball and came right back into my fist, spread his nose from one side to the other. I get clubbed across the back of the head. The sheriff thought I was robbing the gas station. He clubs me across the back of the head. I won't tell you what I was screaming at the top of my lungs. But anyway, next one up. Minneapolis residents are calling to use their Second Amendment right against the federal government. They are rallying their residents to fight back with guns against federal officers. This is a real insurrection, a liberal insurrection against America. 1 minute, 57 seconds. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but this is, I don't know. I'm going to go to you, Jeff. Think of, whether this is culpable or not.
What? We going to tear this motherfucker up. That's what the fuck has to happen. Does anybody know why we're given the Second Amendment right? Google it. It's to protect ourselves from a tyrannical government. That's true. The police are supposed to be on our side, fighting, pointing their guns at the fucking government. It's the facts. It's not for hunting. It's not for self-defense. It's to protect ourselves from a tyrannical government. It don't get no worse than this. It don't.
Yep.
What the fuck?
I know that's right.
What the fuck? I have a little baby. I have a little fucking baby, man. And it's like I had to adopt her to protect her from this shit. You put a baby to my gun's head. You put a gun to my baby's head. I'm gonna hurt somebody. That's what they're doing to us. I'm not Hispanic. I'm black. I just be sitting home, smoking my weed, enjoying my money.
He's black?
Yeah. I was just going to say, like, this. Maybe he's trans black. Is that
Rachel Dolezal's little brother?
There
he looks white, man. I don't know. I'm not the media. I'm just looking at what I see on this video.
Same, but Jeff,
even his hair.
Yeah. Jeff, what do you think after that?
He's not saying go shoot somebody. He's saying, we have, and he's right in that, we have guns to defend against tyrannical government, but this isn't tyranny. They are not going after law-abiding citizens and throwing them in jail for no reason. They're collecting illegal aliens, people who have broken the law and are breaking the law every freaking day by virtue of being in our country illegally. This is what they're supposed to do. This is their job. That's next thing is like saying complaining that the cops are arresting the guy who stole your car. That's their job.
Yeah, exactly. Randy, what do you think of this dude? I know what you think, but put it
well, as Jeff pointed out, some of what he said is absolutely correct. Unfortunately, as misguided and probably as stoned as this guy is, or something else, You know, he couldn't even talk straight. He got what did he say?
They put a baby to his gun's head.
I was like, I'm sorry, what? Then he corrected it, like, okay.
My gun doesn't have a head.
That's right. Certainly doesn't have a baby's head. But you know, again,
my God.
But you know, here this guy is very passionate about it because he thinks he's right. But you know, again, you know, it's just how deceived. It just shows how well the media's their part in this, what brought us to here, how well they've done their job.
Yeah.
And the politicians.
Yeah.
I've got a clip. I have a clip pulled up of Jimmy Kimmel telling his audience that Trump is going to kill you, and holds up a red shirt that says Trump is going to kill you. These people are such assholes. All right, back to the SSRI eyes. This liberal white woman is batshit crazy. This will not be the last video you see today due to the events of yesterday. Well, clearly, 1 minute, 36 seconds.
So a woman just got shot in the fucking face. Not only was she shot in the fucking face trying to... First of all, if any man tries to reach into my car, I'm driving the fuck away. First of all. Second of all, the most agitating part about all of this, our dumb, stupid-ass, fucking orange-ass, retarded-ass fucking president is up on there like, oh, she was trying to run him over. This can't be happening! This can't be happening! And people wonder why I cut off family members for fucking dick riding this fucking retard.
I got more to play of this, but I got to start the audience poll now. If you think that this woman is batshit insane, put a 1 in the live chat. If you think she's possessed by a demon, put a 2 in the live chat. And if you think she is a mental case who just so happens to also be possessed by a demon, put a 3 in the live chat. Let's go back to the insanity.
Agency! Dude, anyone with a brain can watch that video. Nobody got...
I'm pausing here so you can have a good look. Is this obviously SSRI? And
you forgot one. You forgot one answer. I know you didn't go with A, B, and C, but there also has to be, there we go, D or 4, all the above.
Right. Well, no, that's what I said. 1 for batshit insane, 2 possessed by a demon, 3 both. Above.
Okay, now on a separate poll, we need to say, okay, how many people think her family members are secretly or openly thrilled that she has cut them off?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm never speaking to you again. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Listen, we don't necessarily need to watch more of this to get the gist of the video, but we do need to watch more of this video because this is a stellar example of the mental health crisis that we have on our hands in our country. It's unbelievable.
And we have a president fucking spreading even more propaganda. This whole entire administration is literally...
So she's got like metal here, metal on her tongue, metal here.
Right, yeah.
I got the fourth option. I got the fourth option for you, Randy. If you think this, whatever the heck it is, fell face first into a box of fishing tackle, put a 4 in the live chat.
Well, look at her forehead right now. It's even getting a little, that's probably the video, but it kind of looks demonic and warped, doesn't it?
Maybe she's suffering from sort of like heavy metal poisoning from all the piercings.
Something, because she is mad in her eyes. You look at that when she's screaming.
And you fucking dumb Trumpy ass bitches are gonna eat that shit the fuck up. And they're gonna go kill 100 more. While you sit there and say, oh, were they legal though?
That's right.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's the question.
I don't care how crazy I look right now. We should be.
Did you hear that? Listen to this.
How crazy I look right now. We should be going crazy. Anyway, time to clock in tomorrow.
Oh, goodness. I don't like to work with that because she's clocking in somewhere.
Yeah.
But you know, here's the other thing. It's already came out that the woman that got hit is from Colorado and she is a paid protester.
True story. True story. And I think I've got a video pulled up somewhere, Randy, that shows like this was all planned. Go ahead, Jeff.
I was going to say, what they need to also do is look at these people and they're the paid protesters, and when they break the law, if a FedEx driver gets in an accident due to his own negligence, do you not think FedEx gets sued? Of course they do. Why aren't we suing the people who are paying these protesters to go down there and break the law?
Good question. So I got another good question for you here. I've just had to scale it out a little bit. So if you think this is a dude, put a 1 in the live chat. It's a very homely woman, put a 2 in the live chat. So
do we get a third option?
She's just big boned.
Oh my God. You're gonna owe some Hail Marys for that one.
Body positivity, man. Body positivity.
All right. So is it a dude, or is it a woman or a dude? 1, it's a dude. 2, it's a really homely woman. 3, it's a mentally ill it. That's the right answer, to be honest with you. It's Pat. It's a mentally ill Pat. That's the correct.
Clearly above.
Yeah.
Jabba the Hutt's little sister.
All right. So deep breath. Here we go. 42 seconds.
Watch the video, y'all. I watched the fucking video. The news is going to say she tried to ram them. She most certainly did not. They ran in her car, holding on to their guns, and then they shot her when she tried to drive away. She wasn't trying to ram anyone. She was trying to get away from a dangerous situation, and now she's fucking dead.
Okay, hold on a second before we go any further.
She's driving?
I have no idea. So it claims that it's a dude for number 1.
Really?
But I just realized during that delivery there that it's actually Sam Kinison reincarnated but possessed by a demon. So it's not the original Sam Kinison. It's like the bad side of Sam Kinison. You might argue that was what we already had, but
That's a name I haven't heard in a while.
yeah, boy, howdy. All right, we're only halfway through the insanity.
If you are okay with the fact that they're gunning people down in the streets, in the suburbs of Minneapolis, then you're not a freedom fighter. You're a fucking Nazi. Leave my country. Leave my state.
Yeah, newsflash, Sparky, it ain't your country. So,
And it ain't your state either.
Yeah.
Well, again, there was a paid protester. And if you look at the pictures, and we all seen the video, including these last two, both said they watched the video right off the bat. It happens in a split second. So how did that first round get through the front of the windshield? How did that happen? It's because she was driving straight at him.
Yeah,
and he barely got out of the way and shot 2 more rounds. But there is a picture where you can clearly see it's a little low on the windshield, but regardless, it's right in the front of the windshield. I saw it earlier today.
Yeah, I saw it as well.
And again, she's not just there as she lives in that neighborhood and she was coming in and out of work or just went grocery shopping. Why was she there if you're so upset about it? And what was she actually doing? How did she get to where she was? And how was she somehow magically blocking federal agents?
Yeah, right. Jeff, what are we calling the nose ring thing again?
Mental illness identity bracelet.
I need to make a note of that because I've got my sometimers.
Yeah, that's not me. It may have been on this one. I think if you scroll down, somebody actually had it in the comments on this.
It's on this one?
I think so. Scroll down.
Mental illness identity. Oh, we'll have to.
There you go. No, you were there. Go down. Keep going. Mental illness ID bracelet.
Oh, I got to save that image.
Yeah. Whoever Swift is.
Yeah, we're saving that one. That'll come up on Sunday night's broadcast.
I can't take credit for that. I wish I could. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. Do you want to add anything to the last one with Pat's freak out there? Sam Kinison possessed?
It was either Pat or Chris, or maybe it was Kim.
Easy on Chris. I'm
just wondering. I don't know.
Well, you won't be wondering about this one. This one is mad that Border Patrol was at her son's school. She should be mad that illegals were at her son's school. She's only mad at what mainstream media tells her to be mad at. Some call me Lizzie on TikTok, whatever. 1 minute, 57 seconds. Ain't no way we're going to get through this. Look at the eyes already. The SSRI.
I'm not okay. I am not okay. I am not okay. Okay, let me just have this
Clearly, you are not okay, nutcase.
hot second, okay? I just got done pleading with Border Patrol agents who were at my son's school, okay? School. There was like 10 cars packed with Border Patrol.
Look at the blankness behind those eyes. Unreal.
Folks, the whole neighborhood is out there, and I'm standing face to face with this dude, and I'm asking him, why are you doing this? I'm not here to make you a bad guy. I want to know why you are doing this. Why are you choosing to do this? And he looks at me and he says, because that dude tried to hit our car. Okay, so you terrorize a school because I can't even make up a fake reason. And I just kept asking him, you know this is a school, right? You know this is children. That really solidified for me, like, we are fucked.
I can't listen anymore to that. Jeff, you want to go first swing at this one? You're on mute.
The nose ring says it all. Yeah, the big question is, okay, if ICE is at my school, it means there are illegals at my school, maybe illegals working in my school. Why? You know, they're not there to arrest little kids. They're there to go after adults. And so there's an adult criminal alien working at your child's school, and you're worried about the people who want to arrest them? How about the people who hired him?
Good question. Great question. Randy?
Well, I would say that's more relevant, you know what I mean, for her, obviously. But again, she don't even know really why she's upset. But again, you know, these crazy people, what did it affect you? Because you saw them there conducting their duties. So how did it interrupt your day? It didn't. And she made a big deal out of it, out of nothing. And of course, I mean, can you imagine being her husband? Goodness.
No.
Because she had a ring on and clearly she has a kid. So I'm assuming she's still married.
I don't know.
But it makes, you know, again, it's, you know, they're crying about nothing. What did it do? Even for the ones crying about this lady in Minneapolis. Okay. Well, you know, as dumb as you are, at least even you, and I'm talking to the people that made these videos, including those two girls, at least you were smart enough not to be there and do that, weren't you? So what are you worried about that person for?
Yeah, let's get another update on Portland here. Federal agents were involved in Portland shooting. 2 Spanish-speaking people were injured after suspects tried to weaponize a vehicle against agents. Liberal rhetoric is putting agents' lives in danger. Needs to end. 45 seconds.
Again, according to Portland police, just before 2:30, officers received information that a man had been calling for help in this area, and they responded, found a male and a female with apparent gunshot wounds. Again, police and officers on scene worked to give people medical aid during this incident before they were transferred to area hospitals. Again, their conditions right now are still unknown. Information as we can in the meantime.
So they're supposedly stable. Let me just play part of this next one from Nick's order. 2 people have been shot by U.S. Customs Border Patrol agents in Portland, Oregon, per the FBI. Oh, God, they're going to attempt to burn this city down too. Pray for our heroic agents who are increasingly under attack. Those 2 individuals drove several blocks before stopping after being shot. Portland police have cordoned off the scene.
Of where
Jen is that you just heard.
Do we have anybody in Portland that's watching this right now? What is with this channel having no volume on their dang videos? It's killing me.
I did talk to a neighbor who said they saw those two individuals drive up in a car. Now, of course, that is unconfirmed by that press release that Wright just mentioned from Portland Police Bureau. But neighbors here did say they saw those two individuals drive up in a car. Hopefully, they are.
Newsflash to somebody saying those videos are from earlier. Yeah, we know. We know what time it is. Trust me.
Doing okay at this time. They said, you know, from the looks of it, at least they were able to drive themselves here, and then police met them here in this neighborhood. Allegedly, from what the neighbor said, they may have some family, some connection here, and that is why they came here with their car from where that scene happened, from when the shooting happened. And of course, just very recently getting that information confirmed from the Portland Police Bureau that scene happened in the address Wright provided you. A little ways away from here, the shooting from two federal officers. There have been neighbors here just discussing this as we got here. A lot of people quite upset. And of course, Portland Police Bureau urging calm. We'll come back to you guys. And
so also the 351 in the corner kind of gives away the time. Dude, do people think we're stupid or something? Like we don't know what time it is. We can't read the timestamp on the video. Come on. Do better. Jeff, your thoughts on this little bit of information that we have on this situation?
Well, again, this is a copycat kind of deal. You know, someone tried to hit a cop yesterday, got shot. Two idiots try to hit cops today and get shot. People are learning very, very slowly, apparently, that when you try to run over a police officer, he may shoot you. I don't know why this is some big revelation, but apparently it is.
Yeah, good comment here. You wouldn't run from being shot by a cop if you weren't guilty. Have a hard time disagreeing with that. Randy, your thoughts on what little bit we know about what's happened in Portland?
Well, I guess it's, you know, as Jeff said, it appears that they tried to drive off or drive away or something and got shot. There's really not enough information except that two people were shot. You know, and again, you know, they're just trying to dial up some more people. As one person's, you know, the person that called us out on the time mentioned, it's getting dark and now there's protest out there, because that's really all this was. Now this is for them to call of action, to come on out. And, you know, I just don't get, you know, and then somebody also put in here, and I wouldn't doubt it, that, you know, not just the SSRIs, but, you know, that COVID vaccine probably has drove a lot of people nuts too. It's definitely killed a lot of people. So we don't know what all it's done. And I wouldn't doubt some of this madness probably is from that damn shot.
Yeah. So there's a report here from Eric Doherty, and let me see if I can get this shared here. It's official. U.S. border agent shot at Trenda Aragua illegal aliens in Portland after they weaponized their vehicle, tried to run the agents over. Democrats were defending these people before they even knew the Trenda Aragua affiliation. I stand with ICE. So it looks like there's a report here. Let me back it up and you get the volume on it.
Pacific Standard Time, U.S. Border Patrol agents were conducting a targeted vehicle.
Back to this KATU tube. Their audio's horrible. I'll read it myself. At 2:19 Pacific Standard Time, U.S. Border Patrol agents were conducting a targeted vehicle stop in Portland, Oregon. The passenger of the vehicle and target is a Venezuelan illegal alien affiliated with the transnational Trenda Aragua prostitution ring and involved in a recent shooting in Portland. The vehicle driver is believed to be a member of the vicious Venezuelan gang Trenda Aragua. When agents identified themselves to the vehicle occupants, the driver weaponized his vehicle and attempted to run over law enforcement agents. So from what I'm gathering from this, Democrats jumped in like they always do, full hog defending them, and here we go again. They're defending the criminals. Jeff, you want to comment on that first?
Well, we always, just the other day when they got Maduro, I saw a meme and it was Trump in a magician's outfit. And he said, for my next trick, I'm going to make the Democrats, defend Maduro. Well, now they're back to defending criminals. And I wish we could say, okay, we're going to release these guys, but they have to live in your house. And you've got to live with them. They got to be in your guest room. And how many people would say, yeah, maybe not? These are freaking gangbangers.
How many videos?
National gangbangers. Kick their asses out.
How many times have we seen videos where an interviewer asks somebody, do you support, all these illegals? And they say yes. And they're like, oh, good, because we got 4 of them right here that need a place to stay. Oh, well, they can't stay here. Yeah. It's crazy. But Randy, your comments now, we know a little bit more. These were TDA. You're on mute, Randy.
I guess I was off mute.
There you go.
I clicked it and then started talking, so I guess I was already unmuted. So anyway, I always say this, when are we going to hold the media accountable, right? Because if anybody believes they didn't know exactly what this was when it went down and they want to play, it was just 2 people shot so they can cook this up, that's exactly what it is. And here's my little tidbit for all those journalists and all those mainstream media corporations. Y'all have been trying to help bring this country to some sort of fight, whether it be a civil war, a race war, revolution, however it is. When and if it ever actually happens and kicks off, people are going to remember who you are.
True story. All right, next one up. I can't believe this is real. Antifa and leftists in Seattle are chanting death to ICE. Liberals don't even try and hide it. Arrest them all immediately. This was last night, by the way. 1 minute, 14 seconds.
Say it twice. Block ICE.
Yeah. Ooh, these people are ill, man. Randy.
Well, my first impression was, you know what? The fact is there's not that many of them.
I'm sorry, I clicked the wrong freaking thing again.
Yeah,
my apologies. Sorry, go ahead, Randy.
Well, I was waiting for Jeff's mouth to start moving when I was talking.
That would have been a good.
Well, so, my first impression was, the media and the left, or the people that are pushing this and certainly the global elites, was wishing that crowd was about 10 or even 100 times size. I mean, yes, that's still at least 100 people, but that's a very small crowd, folks. If that's what they got, they're just, again, the media is just upblowing how much this really means to everybody. Most everybody, that means that's like less than 10% of the folks there. So, 90% of the people are doing something else and they're not out supporting that bullshit. And again, we're just trying to enforce the law.
Yeah, 100%. So, holy crap, a lone patriot just showed up to the anti-ICE riots in Minneapolis. Federal agents took his side and pummeled a leftist to the ground who was violently intimidating him. We've got their backs. They've got ours. 1 minute, 56 seconds. I'm only going to play part of this.
Let's walk them out. You ain't bouncing me, kids. We should go, man. We should go. Let's go.
Grab his
Keep
arm.
your fucking this is a woman, but you will get hurt, buddy. Keep your fucking hands to yourself. Let's go, man. Keep your fucking hands.
We're nonviolent.
Let's go.
We're nonviolent.
Let's go.
Peaceful.
Let's go.
We're staying peaceful.
Hey, let's go. Patriots, get out of here. We need some backup, boys.
This is peaceful.
Boom. It'll go down like a sack of shit. Let's go back just to catch this again right there. Look at that ICE officer. Beautiful move from behind.
Back up, boys.
This is peaceful. We're peaceful. We're peaceful.
Hands off. Walk away. Everybody back up. Everybody back up. Don't hurt anybody. Don't hurt anybody, and there won't be a problem. That's what we're trying to do. Don't assault people. See this, guys? We will not back down. We will not surrender. These people will not continue to intimidate us in our country. The storm is here. When we come one, we go all. No one can stop what is coming. Get here, guys. We need you in Minnesota. These people are fucking terrorists. These people are terrorists.
I agree with his message, but I hate to say it. I think he's got the SSR.
I was just going to say it'd been great if he just didn't say anything. But the woman's like, we're nonviolent as she's assaulting him.
Yeah, exactly.
He should have just punched her in the face. Because once she assaults him, once she grabbed him, he can defend himself.
Yeah, Heidi says, dude's a Q-tard. Randy, what do you think of this I like the fact the cops stood up for him. That's the only good thing.
I will say, it's laughable though, right? I mean, what storm, buddy? How big is? I mean, look at the crowd. You got nothing.
He was all by himself.
Yeah, but even there's only a few people there. Then you look at I'm just saying, he's talking about, they're trying to make it seem like this is some huge movement and that there is a great divide that's like 50-50 or 60-40. It's not even close. It's not even 70-30 anymore.
Yeah, true story. This woman says she's also been driving around looking to interfere with ICE operations in Charlotte. Now she's horrified. Maybe she should stop. Minneapolis horrified. 1 minute, 25 seconds. I don't even have to start the video. Let me zoom in a little bit. Look at the eyes. It's the fucking SSRI eyes.
All right, you guys. I just watched the video of the woman in Minneapolis. Don't go watch it, okay? If you don't think you can handle it. It is the most frightening thing I have seen in a long time. This woman was driving away in her car and they put their weapon in there and hit her in the face multiple times.
They hit her in the face with their weapon, with their gun. That's a new take. I haven't heard anybody else say that. It's not in the videos.
This is not right. This was not self-defense. This was an execution. I am shocked because only a few weeks ago, I was driving around this town that I live in Charlotte, doing very similar things, looking for ICE agents, trying to prevent them from kidnapping people off the street. And there was a lot of other people out there doing that on a daily basis, as is our right to drive around the streets of our city. It's frightening right now. Please be peaceful in your protests and don't give them any excuse, because it doesn't look like they need any right now. I cannot believe that they just took this woman's life, a U.S. citizen, for no reason.
For no reason. Jeff?
Well, I mean, she's doing the same thing. She's interfering with police activities. And they should be arresting her ass if they see her out on the street doing it. So, these people are just, they're tone deaf. They have no self-awareness whatsoever. They don't realize that, okay, the police are trying to arrest criminals, people who not only broke our law to get into this country, but continue to break our laws. You want to hold these people down and say, why should these people be allowed to stay in our country? Why? Why should any Tren de Aragua gang member be allowed to stay in the United States? And I can guarantee you they can't come up with a good excuse. So it's like, well, if they shouldn't be allowed to stay, then maybe we should be kicking them out. And to do that, we have to arrest them.
Oh, hold on. Maryland Man, because that was his name, right? Maryland Man.
Yes.
Marland, Maryland Man. He deserved due process, Jeff. You didn't get the memo?
Yeah, he did. He got due process the first time he got a deportation order. That was given by a judge, which means he went to court and he was found deportable and he should be deported, period.
Last I heard, they were trying to send him to somewhere in Africa, but another judge intervened, as best as I know.
They did send him to the middle of the South Atlantic.
Right.
And just leave him there.
Randy, your thoughts on that last one?
Well, again, this woman is talking like a man with a paper asshole. She don't know shit, right? Because why was the lady there? Why is she a paid protester? Why did she drive from Colorado to be there? Why is she in the middle of that street? Why is her vehicle there? She doesn't live there. She wasn't visiting anybody there. She was hindering the lawful process. And she got her ass in the way. And then she almost ran over an agent. She did hit him. He did go to the hospital. He got some stitches. He luckily, basically, sidestepped quick enough. But, the fact is, he was within every right to pull his gun and shoot, because if he just stood there, she would have run him over. And then y'all would have been saying it was his fault.
Yeah, true story. True story. All right, we're getting close to the end of the nutcases. We're not really close to the end of the nutcases. We're getting close to the end of the nutcases for now. Liberal TikTok influencer Mossy Matriarch Alt, with 128,000 followers, calls on her followers to begin murdering ICE if protests aren't working. I'm sick and tired of propping up fascist regime. 51 seconds. And check it out, Jeff. She's got the ID. She's got the mental illness ringing her nose. 51 seconds. She got the eyes too. Just this one's really got the eyes.
So ICE just murdered an innocent civilian bystander today. So that's where we're at in this country. If you don't like where we're at in this country, please, I invite you to bed rot with me. On January 20th, we are going to just not do any of our responsibilities at all and see how this country fares. Because if you're a woman, you know how much we actually run. And I'm sick and tired of propping up a fascist regime that has no problem murdering me. And they better count their blessings. We're just bed rotting for a fucking day. Because the Second Amendment exists for this reason. And if protests and boycotts aren't working, that's the only option left. You have no excuse to not take a single day off. You can do it. Nothing's more important right now. So please spread this around because I don't want shit getting more violent.
I got pause it right there at her eyes.
Yeah.
I don't know if we could say much more about these nutcases, to be honest with you.
Well, it just means on January 20th, you're going to have a hard time getting your pumpkin spice latte at Starbucks because she's not going to work that day.
Yeah.
If she even has a job at all.
Yeah. Let's do a quick poll. If you could give 2 shits about Starbucks, put a 1 in the live chat. If, on the other hand, you love Starbucks, keep it to yourself. Randy, your thoughts on this? This is the last of the nutcases. I can't do any more of this.
Well, I mean, I think her facial expressions say it all as she's talking herself through that, right? But if she does have a following of 100 and something thousand people or whatever it is, and now she's calling for some type of insurrection, well, I don't know. Maybe she should face some sort of criminal justice because she's encouraging, even though she's in the end, she doesn't want to be violent, but she just mentioned this is what the Second Amendment was for. And then she compares this administration to a, what was it she called, regime. But, you know, the fact of the matter is she probably took the shot and listened to everything that the Democrats and Obama and Biden told her to do. But, you know, I don't know where, again, as I said before we got on the show, this is what we've been breeding. So in about 20 years, we're all screwed.
Yeah, safe bet on that. I think this is maybe the last one of the protests. Holy crap, some bozo just threw an object at ICE in Minneapolis, and agents bolted after him like freaking linebackers, tackling the assailant 75 yards away. It's pretty clear DEI is not too prevalent inside ICE and Border Patrol. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but we'll at least capture the tackle here. Oh, y'all are going to need a shower after touching this guy.
Hey, how's it going, man? Good to see you.
Apparently DEI is strong among the protesters.
That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. I can't wait to see the first video of JJ Carroll. That. Jeff, thoughts on that? I thought it was a pretty good display of athleticism.
I think so. I mean, he's not exactly a physical specimen, but the ICE agents, think about it, they're wearing body armor, they're carrying weapons, you know, they're carrying gear, and they ran his fat ass down pretty good.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is a comment of the night right here. He was on crack.
Literally. Don't do crack.
Well done, Jimmy. You win the interwebs for today. Oh my God, Randy, your thoughts on that display? It was awesome.
Well, I was on mute because as soon as he hit the ground like a sack of potatoes and a big wet turd, all you could see is obviously that big plumber's crack coming out of his pants. It's like, dude, that's what belts are for, pal. And you definitely look too old to be wearing your pants like that.
You know, where's Jason Jason P from the Guardians when you need him? He's a plumber. He could have probably, filled in a few blanks for us on that one. Thank God it wasn't him, but he's not a flaming liberal like this. Check this out, Jeff. I don't know if you've seen this, and Randy as well. I want to get your thoughts on this. So this is supposedly a letter that was sent out to all Postal Service employees. Background: during large-scale emergencies, epidemics, hurricanes, civil unrest, etc., states and localities may issue curfew orders or other directives restricting travel and other commercial and personal activities. Many of these orders will explicitly exempt providers of essential services, but some do not. Even if a state or local action does not contain such an exemption, the Postal Service's operations are governed by federal law. Therefore, we continue to fulfill our public service mission by accepting and delivering mail and packages in accordance with federal law. Though postal employees are essential workers, that may be exempt from state and local directives. Any decision by the Postal Service to continue operations during an emergency must ensure operations are conducted in a manner that protects the safety of our employees and the public. The Postal Service will continue working closely with federal, state, and local authorities to ensure we are safely carrying out our mission during emergencies. Employees and contractors should carry the essential services letter with them as they perform duties for the Postal Service and travel to and from work. Because state and local government restrictions do not apply to prevent Postal Service employees from reporting to and performing their work, all employees and contractors must be provided a copy of the essential services letter attached to this memorandum. In an effort to assist employees who may be stopped and questioned by local law enforcement about their activities as a result of a state or local legal directive restricting commercial or personal activities, the Postal Service is providing employees with this letter explaining the essential nature of Postal Service employees and contractors. This letter, in addition to the employees or contractors' postal identification badge, should resolve any questions raised by state or local law enforcement officials. It is critical that all employees and contractors carry their postal ID badge with them at all times. If encountered or stopped by state or local law enforcement officials enforcing travel restrictions, the postal employer or contractor should identify themselves as a Postal Service employee, show their official postal issued ID badge, and provide a copy of the letter with this information to the official, blah, 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 blah. What does the Postal Service know that the rest of us don't know, Jeff?
They're probably thinking that some local jurisdiction somewhere is going to try and lock down their city, be it Minneapolis or Portland now, because of civil unrest, because of these morons. And because postal is federal and they have a job to do, local restrictions don't apply to them. Be honest, they don't apply to us either, because we're citizens of the United States and the Constitution is pretty clear. But for them, if they get stopped, if the city says, okay, we're going to put up roadblocks and keep people from traveling, postal workers can go, excuse me, I've got a job to do. And according to the U.S. Constitution, bite me. Because the supremacy clause, I'm a federal employee. You have no authority over me whatsoever. I think that's what they're shooting at.
Well, quick question before I go to Randy. As soon as one Democrat city, starts with curfews or martial law or anything resembling that, how long till it's like a domino and cascades to all the other Democrat cities? They're dying for another lockdown, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think they're looking for an excuse, and they're trying desperately to find one. But it's going to blow up in their faces because their own citizens are going to get locked down, and they're going to go, well, how come the guys over there aren't locked down? Well, it's because they have a Republican running it, or they're in Texas. Yeah, I can see, the governor of Texas, like if Austin says, we're going to lock down, I can see the governor go, yeah, no, you're not. I don't think so. We saw it here with, Mark Lamb when they tried to shut down, our county in Pinal County, and Mark goes, yeah, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah,
it went away.
Good call on Mark's part. He was, I think I told you, he was the MC last time we were at Mar-a-Lago, and he's also, of course, going to be at SHOT Show. And we're doing a joint event, by the way, with Vets Tactical, where we've got a Titan X from Mantis X, and Don and Sheriff Mark Lamb and Keith Graves are all going to compete and put a number up there. But then everybody who shows up at the booth is going to get a chance to compete as well. And the first 3 top people are going to get some pretty badass prizes. Like it's well over $1,000 for the first place guy. Randy, your comments on that one, the letter?
I think he's right. I think, you're right. Jeff's right. That's getting ready for martial law, whether it be in a city, a state, or nationwide for whatever happens. Because I'll tell you what, people, not just this craziness we're seeing and all this, again, this is momentum building is what we see. And, this coming year, we're able to see more of it. I will say, though, and so far, I guess he's still alive, but I've always said, if you want to see real conflict, we've had conflict over oil. When we start fighting over water, that's when you'll see real conflict. And in this case, for what we're talking about today and what's coming, you have to realize that just lost my damn train of thought. The sometime has kicked in.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
I tell you, it's brutal.
So let me think about what I was going to say here real quick and try to reel this in.
Well, go ahead and ruminate on that. I'm not going to play these videos because I want to get through next few so that Jeff can go have dinner. But Jimmy Kimmel says Trump is ordering ICE to kill Americans and holds up a shirt that says Donald Trump is going to kill you. ABC, get this piece of shit off the air for inciting violence against Trump again. Yeah, I mean,
it's what I've been saying all along. As long as they're allowed to do this, people like him, politicians, the media, it's going to tell all these people that we just played, every one of those idiots and those crazy nuts, that it's okay to do this. They're giving them permission to do this. And we watched it in 2020. And what I was going to say is, so far Maduro's still alive, right? Mm-hmm. But when they start trying to bring this guy to court and they start putting in and providing the evidence, not just on 2020, but all the money laundering, all the drug narco stuff, and all how that all ties together, including with Europe, you better buckle your seatbelts, because the people that own him and are making this happen aren't going to just let us come and drop the cuffs on them. That's when we're going to see real conflict. You're going to see real strife, and then you're going to see paid actors and these protests, and they're not peaceful. Let's just stop saying that bullshit. You're going to see a lot more of it.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the next one for you, Jeff. Just like I said, I've only got a couple left to get through here. Dina Winter of the Minnesota Star Tribune just doxed the federal agent involved in yesterday's ICE shooting. Absolutely reckless, disgusting, and dangerous. Elon Musk should ban her account immediately. Thoughts on that, Jeff? I mean,
they're trying to, again, stir up trouble. So how to stir up trouble? You put him and his name and address and out there I honestly believe in the hopes that some lunatic will take a shot at it. And that's what they want.
100%. This next one I'm just going to read quickly here. ICE protester are coached on where to stand before a press conference. One laughs with a media member and another says, "This reminds me of theater." I'm not going to play it because we're running long on the sit rep, obviously. So I just put the link in all of the live chats. The next one, this has got to make every American proud. So we're going to pivot off of that stuff. We've got 3 short ones here, and then we'll be into the main topic. 1 minute, 6 seconds. Have you seen the U.S. railgun?
Railgun has officially crossed from theory into reality. The United States has announced that its long-discussed railgun concept has entered the military deployment phase. This weapon uses no gunpowder and creates no explosion. Instead, it relies on electromagnetic force to launch solid metal projectiles at several times the speed of sound. When fired, the projectile rips through the air purely through kinetic energy. The most unsettling part isn't the speed, it's the cost. A traditional missile can cost millions of dollars per shot. A railgun round requires only electricity and a simple metal slug. That single difference rewrites the logic of modern warfare. Saturation attacks are no longer limited by missile stockpiles, but by how much electrical power a nation can generate. This also creates a nightmare for defense systems. Hypersonic projectiles leave almost no time to detect, track, or intercept. There may be no warning and no response window. The U.S. Department of Defense calls the railgun a defensive breakthrough. This one shifts war from who has the most missiles to who controls the most energy.
That's friggin' badass. Jeff, your thoughts as an engineer?
Yeah, well, we were working on that. We've been working on that for years, and so have the Russians and the Chinese. And one system that I was personally familiar with was getting muzzle velocities of about 7.5, 8 kilometers per second.
My God.
Yeah. Yeah, they would only be good for 1 or 2 shots, because it was, new. But if they can figure out the longevity thing, and get barrels that can hold up. Yeah, it's for reference, an M1 main tank gun is about 3 kilometers a second. So it's, 2.5, 3 times faster.
Yeah. So 8 kilometers, 5 miles, 3 kilometers, 1.8 miles per second.
Yeah.
That's 5 miles per second. We should all have one.
And it's all kinetic energy. They don't need an explosive at all.
Yeah.
It's
So
just energy.
there's nothing to lock onto as far as a heat signature, right?
Well, yeah, they're heating up the atmosphere as they tear through it, but they're going so damn fast, and there's nothing you could shoot at it that would get there in time except a laser. But
Okay.
they are, you look at the energy of an object is the mass times the square of the velocity. So you double the velocity, you quadruple the energy. Well, at 8 kilometers a second, there's a lot of energy.
Yeah, I'd have to do the math on that, but I can just imagine how many foot-pounds of energy it must be.
Yeah, it's going to be off the charts.
Yeah, for sure. Randy being, former military, isn't that cool?
Yeah, as Jeff said, I've known about the railguns for quite some time. We've been working on that for a long time. And, to me, it made sense why we didn't, right? Because as this video just adequately pointed out, it's kind of cheap. It's relatively cheap. And defense contractors are kind of like pharmaceuticals, right? They don't like cheap.
Well, the guns themselves are not cheap. The
Yes,
projectiles
that's correct.
are
Yes,
cheap.
that's correct.
The guns themselves are far from cheap.
No kidding. So 2 quick ones here. Check this out. This is how the H-1B map looks. Your state is under full invasion and fraud is completely out of control. Those are H-1B visas in the U.S. right now.
Yeah, I saw something earlier that said that, when they uncover the fraud in Texas, it's going to overshadow
I saw that.
Minnesota. But we also know, and I look at California, something's got to be wrong with that because we know California has way more corruption and probably in the tens of billions, well beyond what Minneapolis is. But I look at Texas and then I see what's happened with all the Muslims and the amount of money, the grants that they're giving to them. Because again, grants you don't have to pay back. People will give tens of millions of dollars to these mosques for free.
That may be indicative of the number of companies that are moving out of California into Texas.
That's an excellent point.
Because they're all tech companies and most H-1B visas are tech people.
That's right.
You don't get an H-1B for a guy picking cabbage.
Yeah, exactly. And
I can tell you those are not roughnecks. Those are guys who are not out in the oil patch.
Yeah.
No.
Well, speaking of oil, this is the last one that I had in the brief. A Maduro loyalist threatens to personally stop any American that tries to get Venezuelan oil. No Yankee is going to come boss us around in the oil facilities. Chavez lives independence and socialist homeland. I'm pretty sure this is AI. Again, I've got an eye for this. I study this stuff. I don't see, I zoomed in on this before. I don't see any individual hairs in any person. I see massive diffusion. And this is the whole reason I put this up. If you know what to look for, it's not hard to see. Look at this right here where my cursor is to his left ear. you can see some of the element of the guy behind him. That's called occlusion. And when you see all this fuzzy stuff, everybody's covered. See, there's no hard edges. That's called diffusion. Those are two really quick hints that it's probably AI. And the way that I dissect AI, by the way, if I'm really going to roll up my sleeves, is if it's 30 frames per second, then I take all 30 still images out of that 1 second, and then the next one, the next one, and the next one. One of the dead giveaways for AI is it never maintains consistency on the XY coordinates of things. So you might, if you've got still images, because that's all video is, and one of them, the person's eyes are here, the next one, the person's eyes could be, shift around quite a bit, but because it's playing 30 frames per second, you don't see that until you take the individual frames. That's the next way, just seeing stuff move around on screen that you wouldn't see in motion. So anyway, I'm pretty sure that Fat Boy here is AI generated, and I'm pretty sure even if he wasn't, we're not scared. So anyway, I'm going to get into the main topic. If you all need to jet, that's fine. Appreciate everybody's time. I know Jeff's got to go have dinner. Randy, it's up to you.
So
well, I got till 8, but yeah, I've
well,
got to get.
All right. Well, we'll kick off the first segment then, if you want. Sounds good. All right, Jeff. Appreciate it.
We'll see you guys.
All right.
See you, Jeff.
Take care. All right. So this is moving into the main topic, the next episode in our long war series. And there's 144 episodes. We're a little over 50% of the way through. And the main topic tonight is the new Mason-Dixon line. So geopolitical fault lines, old divides reemerge, carving the country into rival blocs with opposing loyalties. And this has been happening for years. And now it's kind of coming to a peak. So what I'm going to do in the interest of brevity tonight is, because Randy's only got about 20 minutes left, I'm going to skip the long explanation of what 9/11 2.0. 9/11 2.0 is based on intelligence from Khalid and his men. He's got 400 of his own guys. The guys on X who are trying to assassinate Khalid's reputation. I will get into this at some point in time when my attorney says green light. Suffice it to say, the guy who's going after Khalid online has ripped a whole bunch of people off. All of his work is 100% predicated on AI generated images, videos, and text. And like I said, when my attorney gives me the green light, I'll lay it out for y'all. But Khalid his credentials are impeccable. So with that being said, 9/11 2.0 is essentially the brainchild of Al Qaeda to attack 10 to 15 of our tier 2 cities simultaneously, with 10 to 15 jihadi, terror sleeper cells in each city, 4 to 12 jihadis in each of those cells. So you're looking at 2,000 to 3,000 trained terrorists attacking in unison across the country and seizing the level 1 trauma center. That's it. That's the Cliff Notes version of it. Go back and watch last night's opener if you want a little bit more of a discussion on that. So I'd like to get it through at least the first 2 out of 5 segments while we've got Randy here. So the consequences clearly of a coordinated attack on 10 to 15 of our tier 2 cities, 100,000 to 500,000 people, that's going to overwhelm the response capacity for everybody, whether it's local, county, state, or federal. And that's going to force people at the state and local level to assume emergency powers, because there's not enough feds to go around for this many terrorist attacks simultaneously, sort of thing. So there's probably going to be some decisions made without Washington's blessing, and that's going to lead to fault lines opening up even more than they already have. I mean, Minneapolis, Portland, Seattle, these cities could not be more different than where I live in Florida or where we have a home in Georgia. I mean, to us, it's like bizarro world, complete opposite. So the 9/11 2.0 attack is only going to exacerbate that and make it grow. And as we're already seeing, governors are going to refuse to cooperate with federal security measures. I mean, you know what, Randy, before I read the next 3 points here, give me your take as a military man on Tim Walz saying that he's going to activate the National Guard to go against ICE.
Well, I said it last night, and I don't reply to too many things on social media anymore. I try not to, but I'm like you. I start reading some of this stuff, and sometimes I just can't help myself. And today was one of those, right? And it's the same thing. Waltz can say whatever the hell he wants to, but here's a dose of reality for him. Yeah, he's a governor, and if he mobilizes his state National Guard to oppose federal agents and officers, that is the very definition of insurrection, and he could find his ass in prison. Or I don't know if a governor, what kind of treason can be charged. As we know, high treason for our elected officials, there is only one sentence. I mean, there's no prison sentence for it. If you're found guilty, it's pretty clear and cut what happens next. So that's what I'm saying. If he wants to walk that water, let him be stupid enough to do that.
And referencing that sentence, which I appreciate you being, coy. I've mentioned what Randy's talking about, what that sentence is 3 times in the past 12 months, and 3 times I've been kicked off of X for fomenting violence by stating what the penalty is for being found guilty of treason. So anyway, with that being said, federal emergency management systems are designed for regional disasters, not simultaneous multi-city attacks. And that means that response resources will be spread incredibly thin, and local authorities are going to be left making, like I said, unilateral decisions. So political governors have already demonstrated willingness to defy federal authority on immigration, Charlie 19, establishing, the precedent for emergency powers during a national security crisis. Gavin Newsom, Tim Walz, and the list goes on. J.B. Pritzker, Hochul, blah, blah, blah. So the initial information vacuum after coordinated attacks creates the space for competing narratives to take hold before any unified national message can be established, with each side blaming the other's policy for enabling the attacks. Randy, tell me that's not precisely what we've seen in the past 36 hours. The nutcases watch the video of the lunatic trying to run over a cop getting shot, and they say it was murder, and we watch it and we see what it really was, attempted murder. That's what this point is all about. How long did it take for the Democrats in Minneapolis and around the country, for that matter, to come out and say this was murder without even having all the details?
Well, it's no different than today's case, right? It was immediate. The shooting that happened today, as it turns out, those are actual gang members. And, of course, the media didn't put that out. The left called out the same exact call they did yesterday, and more protesters. And if you watch the videos yesterday, as the time goes by, more and more people do show up. Now, again, there's not millions of people down there, but it's a fairly large crowd. If you were law enforcement, that could get fairly tricky.
I got a couple really, really specific questions for you on this, Randy. And the first one is speculative on your part, but based on what we're seeing here with the anti-ICE, anti-deportation stuff going on, how quickly do you think it'll take blue state governors to break from federal coordination after 9/11 2.0, massive terrorist attacks across the country?
Well, I think they already are, correct? I think they already are. So I don't think we'll see them change posture at all once the attacks happen. As we've mentioned several times on the show, we believe, now this is our opinion, folks, but we believe, by certainly watching some of the hurricanes and some of the other, and the fires and all these other things that weren't handled, well, let's say like Florida did. And so Florida's a red state, red governor, got down to business, took care of stuff. There's some complaints about the guy, but the reality is when his people in the state needed emergency services, he got right on it, and he made sure that happened. Whereas on, whether it be in California or North Carolina, those people were completely ignored, and still are to this day. Regardless if there's been an administration change, there probably was a little bit of something that happened, but it's so far back in the news now that nobody really cares, and it's forgotten. So these people will not break their lock and step where they are now, and I don't think we'll see anything differently. I don't think they will take one step with the federal government once something like this happens. They're going to continue marching in their own path. And what we're watching is like I'd mentioned, when you have the media and politicians, now they have painted this president to be a Nazi, a pedophile, a criminal, and all this stuff. Again, once you get any part of the population, even if it's only 20%, to believe that in their core, this is what you're going to see, because now they think they're being the patriot.
Right. Well, next question for you, Randy. And this is in your wheelhouse. What happens when state National Guard units receive conflicting orders from governors and the federal government during a crisis like massive terrorist attacks?
Well, that's an interesting question. I guess we will have to let that play out. We don't have any context or historical data to fall back on in this way, certainly in, to the level it is now. But I would say it's going to be like when they get deployed. Now, in the beginning, the state is who pays, right? Pays the National Guard. Now, if federally we have something that, just like when Iraq kicked off, not so much in Afghanistan, right? But once Iraq and Afghanistan were going together, they activated all the National Guard in most of the states. And what happens then is the federal government takes charge of it and they start paying them. So I would imagine, you're going to have to follow your chain of command, and that's going to be to where the buck stops. And at the point, if they're federally mobilized, they're going to take orders from the federal government. Now, again, you can have some of these Fruit Loops think they're going to do something different, but I would think once the action starts, I don't know. We'll have to see how serious Trump or whoever, this administration, how serious they are into putting this stuff down. Are they going to lock us all down and punish us, saying that it's in the interest of public safety? Or are they actually going to go after these players like these states that do that and go arrest and charge and whatever else can be done legally and culpably for their criminal activity as a state governor and interfering with federal law?
Yeah, well, very, very well said, Randy. So moving into segment 2, I titled it "The Modern Mason-Dixon Line Takes Shape." The geographical divisions following existing patterns of ideological concentration in response to major crises reflect different worldviews about who belongs, who decides, and whose laws apply, resulting in different emergency rules and enforcement priorities in coastal and urban areas compared to the heartland and rural America. Population sorting has concentrated progressives in urban areas and conservatives in rural regions to a degree not seen since Reconstruction, creating the geographic foundation for rival blocs with incompatible governance priorities. Blue cities embedded in red states will become flashpoints where competing authorities clash directly, with local police potentially refusing to enforce state emergency measures, while state authorities attempt to override sanctuary policies and federal authorities. The existing infrastructure of progressive NGOs and conservative grassroots networks would rapidly transform into parallel civil society structures operating in active opposition rather than mere political competition. Randy, give me your thoughts on how you see the urban-rural divide playing out. We're all dealing with the same national emergency, but we really are two diametrically opposed cultures in this country now.
Well, I think it's always been that way, right? For city folks as opposed to country folks. And I think we all know who's more capable and who gets more done in a day's time. And that's always the people in the rural side. They get up early, they work hard from sun up to sundown, and they take care of business. If it needs to get done, they need to get done. Your cities have a lot of lazy folks, and you look at them today, it's like when we look at all these elections, and it's only these little tiny these cities that are blue when the entire country's red, but somehow we have enough population in them cities and enough madness that these people vote in stuff that we can't stop. So there will be definitely a different disparity, even in it'd be interesting to see what happens in Austin, Texas, right? because it's definitely now a liberal city. It always has been an artsy fartsy kind of purplish, but now with the influx of California folks and everywhere else, and Austin's completely gone. So it'll be interesting how that ferrets out, because as you know, it doesn't take you very far. You're getting out of Austin and you're into rural areas. As long as the trouble stays in the cities, it'll probably continue there, right? But if they ever try to go out into the rural side and start taking it to those folks, I think they'll be in for a shock.
Yeah, the crazy thing is, Randy, is this physical separation of us and them, real Americans, and then all the mentally ill people.
Yeah,
is a direct. It's a great example. It's a direct rebuttal to their constant, mantra of diversity is our strength. Diversity is our strength. Well, diversity is not our strength. Number one. Number two, birds of a feather flock together, and you can't say that, well, we have to respect everybody and let them fly their flag and let them do this and let them do that, when it's completely opposed to your culture, and think that everybody's going to get along just fine. Zero instances in recorded history, as we know, of diametrically opposed cultures occupying the same geography. Quick, really funny story, Randy. So I was in this exercise. The son had brought in this psychiatrist. They made us do a DISC assessment, so DISC, right? And the guy who came up with the DISC assessment, your personality, Randy, he said that 70% of your behavior is hard-coded in your DNA, and 30% is considered adaptive behavior, so being a product of your environment. So this lady, she breaks us all apart, D's in one group, I's, S's, C's. And she says, y'all got a flipboard. We want you to design the hotel of the future. So 15 minutes into the exercise, she starts going to one group and another, saying, hey, you move over there, you move over here. And then at the 30-minute mark, she did it again. At the 45-minute mark, she did it again. So one of the first questions she asked is, she said, everybody in the room, got moved, hold your hand up. And she picked one of the people and she said, well, how did that feel to you? And the person says, well, when I was in my group with my people, they accepted my viewpoint and they included me in the conversation. As soon as you moved me to that other group, nobody wanted to listen to a word I said, and I was kind of froze out. Every single person who got moved had the exact same answer. And she was trying to recover, Randy, and she's like, well, this is a good example of how hard you need to work on, embracing diversity and other people and all this stuff and everything. And there was a whole bunch of us, myself included, who spoke up and said, if you put us together with people we can't stand and they can't stand us, nothing good is going to come out of it. You can, preach the diversity stuff all you want. That's where our culture's at.
Well, right? we have a certain amount, as we've gone over thoroughly in this episode, of crazy liberals that have just lost their ever loving mind, and they think they're going to be able to do and scream and cry and get their way, but it's kind of what I alluded to the other night when we talked about communism, right? And, Jeff was like, hey, it's, if they write a book or if they say, if they're a communist, it's, it's a free country. Well, here's my problem with that, right? It's whether it's communism or Islam, either one, right? What those are both known for. What are those both known for when they move into a country, say some communists or some Muslims move into a country that doesn't have them? They both have the same MO. First, they talk about, how they're being mistreated and they're the minority. But the reality is, what do both of those communities do? They sow dissension, and they do nothing but cause trouble. And then the larger their group, the more trouble they cause, until they have the population to take over. And then they throw out old said society. So that's why I said there is no good communist and or Islam, if you certainly believe in the jihadi style. Now, I do know, and I met a few like Khalid, but the reality is they're far and few in between. That is the truth. And the fact of the matter is, and I can't speak for Khalid or some of the other ones I knew, but, as I mentioned many times before, as soon as a radical moves in the neighborhood, and a radical jihadi, the entire neighborhood changes and they fall lockstep with that guy, because they're not They believe this is from God, so they're not going to question it, even when they know it's wrong. So that is my problem when you start mixing those two groups of people into the United States. First, it's against our Constitution. We don't need it. We don't want it. And I don't care if it's freedom of speech. If you, just like we always have done, if you were a communist, you got crushed and you deserve to be, because you do nothing but breed bad stuff. And then you want to take over, and only the few people at the top actually have anything. Where you take both societies. If we look at around the globe, name one communist society that's going well, or the people are happy, or things are good. It doesn't exist. And we'll take Islam on the other hand, same thing. Any Islamic state, and we look at all the Middle East of where it took over since the 70s, because if you go back to the 70s, people, and previous to that, many of them looked like they were in Western clothes. They looked like normal societies. And now they're in burqas and all burqa'd up. And there's a reason for that. It's because the bad element took over. And so that's why I want to keep both of those out of here. And I'm in the book. I don't care what anybody thinks about it. There's no good communist, but a dead one. And there's no good jihadi except a dead one.
I was going to say the same thing. That's awesome that you said that. So you only got 2 minutes left, Randy. One last question. How much do you expect to see the acceleration of Americans moving from urban to rural locations after 9/11 2.0?
I would say you are going to see a mass exodus. People think we've seen it now out of New York City. Just wait. We think we've seen it out of California. But if something like this happens, and again, if they're able to and they're allowed to pull this off, and they're even 50% successful on 9/11 2.0, you are going to see people move in an instant. They might not even bring any of their stuff. They're just going to get up and leave and go somewhere else and take whatever money they have, if money's even worth anything at this point.
Right.
I have no doubt, they will listen. They did it after September 11th. They learned, certainly after the stock market crash and the depression. So as soon as this attack goes off, here's what's going to happen, folks. They're going to shut down the financial sector and Wall Street, period. Why? Because people panic. They go to Wall Street, they go to the bank, they want all their money back, and they want it now. Well, your bank doesn't have all your money, and it certainly doesn't have all the money to cover every single person that has an account there. So what it does, it collapses the financial sector. So they won't allow that to happen. But again, I don't know how much the dollar is going to be worth by then anyway. So even if you did pull it out, when they flip the switch on the financial stuff, your dollar's not going to, it's going to be like, when I was a private in Iraq, dinars were, let's just say I had people we pulled over had trunk full of dinars. That's how worthless they were.
Okay.
And I got stacks and stacks. Our battalion did a brand new $10,000 dinars with Saddam on there. It even had the little, just like our bills, it had the little thread through it. So it's a real bill.
Mm-hmm.
That $10,000 dinar was worth $3.33.
Wow.
$10,000 dinar worth $3.33 in American money. I sent them to everybody in my family, mailed them all out because they were worthless. And that's what our cash is going to end up being if we allow them to continue down this road. And unfortunately, I don't see how we as average citizens are ever going to stop it at this point until it breaks.
Totally agree. Couldn't agree more, Randy. Well, listen, I appreciate your insight tonight. All y'all in the audience, hang with me. We've got 3 more segments to get through to wrap this thing up tonight. Randy, we'll see you tomorrow evening. Thanks again.
Yep. Thank you. See everybody. Yep.
All right. So we're moving into segment number 3, and I titled it Competing Enforcement Priorities Create Parallel Systems. A coordinated attack on U.S. cities will lead to parallel governance structures due to political divisions among governors. This will cause issues with federal response and highlight existing ideological divisions among Americans. The resulting split will see different jurisdictions enforcing laws based on competing visions of who Americans are and what America is supposed to be. And we saw that in some of the videos earlier in the sit rep of these lunatics yelling and screaming, "Get out of my America, get out of my America." Well, they're not real Americans, TM Randy Nance, not even freaking close. They're communists, they're socialists. They're not Americans that subscribe to American ideals, values, and morals. So I don't think it's hard to predict that blue states and their authorities, they're going to suspend cooperation with federal immigration enforcement, amongst other areas of contention. And they're going to argue that the community trust is essential for public safety. And therefore, because our people don't trust you because you're throwing illegals out of the country, we got this. We're not going to let you come to our state, our area, and enforce anything. And of course, things just continue to get worse from there. Now, on the other hand, when you look at conservative states like East here, especially in Florida, you'll probably see, believe it or not, and it's probably going to be hard to do this, but expanded rights on defending yourself and your family under different circumstances. So right now, we were the first ones to have stand your ground. Our stand your ground law is 3 sentences long. It's not hard to understand. If you feel that your life is in imminent danger and you use deadly force, even if you were wrong, the stand your ground law will save you from prosecution. From a castle doctrine perspective, all 50 states have a castle doctrine, but they interpret them very differently. So we have some states that have what's called a fair fight doctrine. And what that means is somebody breaks into your home, they've got a baseball bat, you shoot them with a gun, you're going to prison for homicide because it was a disparate level of force that the two of you had. Absolute insanity. We have family in Washington State, and they flat out said that they're terrified that if somebody was breaking into their home and they defended themselves with guns, that they would in fact be the ones put in prison. And I don't doubt it. There's lots that back that up. I mean, there's a reason, self-defense companies like CCW Safe, for example, it's my favorite. And it's my favorite for a whole bunch of good reasons, which I won't get into. But you can't get it in Washington State because things are so freaking crazy there. Anyway, like I say, at the end of the day, you're going to see the rule of law restored faster in red states. You'll see more resources in red states. As we've mentioned with the blue states, not only are you going to have this chasm get bigger between the state law enforcement and federal law enforcement, you're going to see differences in. They're going to lock everything down. There's going to be an insane number of rules and regulations, and that's just not going to happen in, I would call them libertarian states. I've been telling people for years, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat. I am a textbook libertarian, lowercase L, capital L. Those guys are loonies. They're not right in the head. But the problem is textbook libertarianism kind of got us into this mess, and myself included. For years and years, I used to say, look, I don't give a shit what those lunatics do over there. As long as they're not hurting anybody else and they stay away from me, I don't give a shit. That attitude, which I had for years, has got us to this point. We should have taken a stronger stand against that crap sooner. But, looking backwards, 20/20 vision in hindsight, right? So at the end of the day, the practical result, the result for all of us in these different states is that you can expect wildly different, cultures, legal rights, freedom of movement, all of these things. I mean, we saw it in Charlie 19. It was a great example of what the despots on the left are all about. And they are despots, and they can, say whatever the hell they want to say about conservatives. We didn't do that shit here in Florida. We didn't lock it down. We did this quick pause to stop the spread, and then we realized it was BS, and everybody went back to work, and we made money, and our economy did well. And we had family visit from Washington, and he came into a restaurant we were in New Smyrna Beach, and they had masks on, and nobody had masks on. And the one family member, she says, we stopped at a convenience store where we came here. People were staring at us like we from outer space, and they were, mocking us and all that sort of stuff. And we were like, yeah, nobody wears the mask here because it doesn't work, doesn't do anything for, stuff that's that small. Anyway, they took it off, and I don't know, maybe half an hour later, they were like, oh, this is what freedom's like again. That's a great case example of what we can expect. Got to knock out a few quick things here. January 15th, so a week from today, unfortunately, Carnival has been hit with another wholesale price increase. So January to January, their prices, wholesale price went up 49%. They didn't pass all of that on to consumers. They just got hit with another 15% increase, and it's already affected them. But they're good guys, and they're selling off what they've got that was purchased at the old price before it goes into effect. But a week from today, the price is going up. Here's the deal, and I didn't know this until they educated me on it. If you sign up for a subscription service for something tangible, like their 25-year shelf life beef, chicken, or pork, they can't change the price for 12 months after you signed up, which means that if we see another 49%, wholesale price increase this year, you can save yourself a shit ton of money by subscribing to Carnival here. We subscribe to Carnival. We buy our own Carnival. They offer to send it to us, and I tell them no. This works both ways. We're pretty happy. We'll buy it ourselves. So go to carnival.com. If you can swing a subscription, do the subscription. The discount code doesn't work on subscriptions, only works on individual buys. If you got canines, I don't know where my can of dog treats are, your dogs will go insane over it. It's like crack cocaine for dogs. So with that being said, let's get into segment number 4. Oh, before I forget, if you are an annual guardian, a survival dispatch guardian, and you spend over $100 at Carnival, or you spend over $100 at wasatchwagyu.com, I'll talk about that later. Forward that email to support@survivaldispatch.com, your receipt, and we will give you a 30-day extension on your membership at no additional charge. So segment number 4, I titled Federal Strain and the Assertion of Local Control. So local power tends to take control during national emergencies when federal response is overwhelmed, leading to parallel governance structures that challenge federal authority due to ideological divisions among governors. You want a great example? Hurricane Helene. So, and the state folks in North Carolina didn't do a great job either, but Biden's FEMA on purpose was unwilling to help people. If you had a Trump flag outside, they were told by their superiors to keep on trucking and not to help fellow Americans who were Trump supporters. They completely dropped the ball in North Carolina. The state didn't do great in North Carolina. A lot of the counties did good, but people coming from outside of the state really stepped up to the plate. That's a great example of a political, ideology that doesn't align, where most of those people affected by Hurricane Helene were Trump voters. So the Biden admin, being the spiteful pieces of shit that they were, illegally installed, administration, they shit all over anybody who wasn't one of their, program brain dead zombies, which is essentially what they were. So federal emergency response, though, it depends on state and local cooperation, but we can't assume that anymore. So the constitutional crisis of competing authorities will manifest itself virtually immediately, like Randy said, in practical terms during and after 9/11 2.0. And sheriffs and local police chiefs essentially become kingmakers in their community. Not necessarily a bad thing in some jurisdictions. Those of us who have great sheriffs like we do here, I'm okay with them leading the charge in the recovery. We've got an awesome sheriff's department here in Volusia County. Anyway, with that being said, I mean, with this competition and with local authorities thinking they can flex on the federal authorities, then you end up with this, pushback because of ideological differences. Again, this is just more proof of what I've been saying for a long, long time. There are 0 instances in recorded history of 2 or more competing cultures peacefully coexisting in the same geography. Doesn't happen. So I think what we're seeing play out right now, by the way, in Minneapolis is, You want to talk about a potential of split loyalties between the governor and, you know, the federal government. It couldn't mimic better what we know virtually 100%, not too many things life are 100%, how things will unfold after 9/11 2.0. And who do they take commands from? I think the feds obviously will federalize the Guard, but as you heard Jeff and Randy say, their concern is that a lot of them will be in lockstep with their governor because they live in the state. This is also the reason why some of our states, like Texas and Florida in particular, I know there's more, I think it's maybe 17, that have a state National Guard that has nothing to do with the feds. So the Florida State Guard cannot be federalized by the feds. The Texas State Guard cannot be federalized by the feds. Then they're strictly under control of our governor, which is a good thing when you have an illegally installed administration like the Biden administration. But that split in loyalties, man, I can see that getting pretty bad. And those of you who've been following us for any period of time, 6 months ago, I specifically put the rhetorical question out to y'all in our audience. How long do you think it's going to be before we see somebody from a city PD that is woke and answers to a woke mayor? So think Minneapolis, think Chicago. How long is it going to be before one of them shoots a federal cop, federal law enforcement officer, ICE, CBP, FBI? It's going to happen. And I personally think that that's probably one of the biggest tipping points when shit's going to get really real. So with that being said, that's the end of segment 4, going into segment number 5 quickly. And you know what? I just looked over my desk here and realized I ate all of my Wasatch Wagyu jerky today. I don't even have anything here to show you. It's the best jerky in the world. For those of you who don't know, my heritage is Greek, and you know, I'm 100% American. You'll never hear me say I'm Greek American or any bullshit like that. Just my heritage is Greek. And for Greeks, anybody who knows Greek, so our world revolves around food. And that's why I have such a strong affinity for Carnival and WasatchWagyu.com. And when we get to the video at the end, I'll put the link and the discount codes in the live chat for both of them. But I'm telling you right now, best jerky, bar none. Their strips are amazing. I make sandwiches out of them. You can put them on charcuterie boards. It is literally crack cocaine. But whatever you do, don't make this mistake. Do not order the dill pickle. It's terrible. You will not like it at all. It's my cross to bear. I promised Greg that I would look after all of it for him, but everything else top shelf. Just stay away from the dill pickle. So segment number 5, I titled Living in Parallel America's Practical Preparation. So in a major attack, people need to factor in their political geography alongside their physical geography and terrain when preparing. You know, conservative leaning areas are more likely to maintain order, respect constitutional rights, and prioritize citizen safety while still requiring contingency plans for chaos. How many conservative cities did you see in 2020 where we were burning down buildings like the BLM people were? How many riots did we start? How many autonomous zones did we establish? We didn't do any of that stuff because, well, like Randy said, we're real Americans, TM Randy Nance. And it's going to be a massive difference. God save you if you are anywhere near a large blue jurisdiction. People have memories just like we do here. We live in an older, established, upper middle class community. And I can't remember the number of homes now. It's maybe like around 400. It's like 3 phases. And it's an old one. So we've got huge lots, blah, blah, blah. There were 2 people who had Biden signs. There were 2 people who had Kamala signs, 2 homes in our entire neighborhood. And we all kind of locked in and made a mental note of that. We know the one for sure. My wife helped get their dogs when they got loose. And the lady looked at my wife, didn't say thank you. I mean, she might as well have just said, you know, kiss my ass. So people keep track of this. Now, on the other side, if you're, you know, the conservative real American, TM Randy Nance, your people in your neighborhood know who you are. And that is not a good spot to be in. And I'm going to throw this out there for y'all. We are a survival prepping company. One of the hallmarks of my career is I'm pretty good at finding talent, bringing it in, getting out of the way, let them do what they're best at. That's why I've got people like Jeff and Randy and Khalid in particular. But I'm going to return to inviting guests again from my Rolodex. And that includes a lot of really high caliber guests. And it's going to start again as soon as I get back from SHOT Show. But from a, intelligence perspective, and 9/11 2.0 and looking at predictive models, here's the best example, actually. When Baghdad fell, Randy has told the story a gazillion times. People looted for the first 24 hours everything they possibly could. Then the marauders came out and stole everything from them that they possibly could. And we had 300,000 troops on the ground, and that's what brought order. You're not going to have 300,000 troops on the ground in a city with 100 to 500,000 people. And you can pretty much count on all hell breaking loose, especially if you're identifiable as a conservative. You will be targeted, and you should have a contingency plan. Here's a quick thought, and then I'll move on to the rest of segment 5 here. If you have a storage unit that you pay for each month, my recommendation is to find a small town that is 1.5 plus gas tanks away from you, rent a storage unit there, put your stuff in the storage unit there, and then put some extra stuff in there. Food, water, ammunition, guns. Put your guns inside a safe that's bolted to the floor, of course, blah, blah, blah. If and when the shit hits the fan and you're trapped in a city, you can get to that area in 1.5 tanks of gas, because you're going to want to make sure you get extra gas as a good prepper, and you will have the basics to survive, which is better than staying in a hellhole that is coming apart at the seams. So it's a cheap way to have somewhere to bug out to. The problem is most people don't have anywhere to bug out to. That's a cheap option if you're already paying for that stuff. So at the end of the day, pay attention to your location selection, and that's whether you're bugging in or bugging out. If this neighborhood was the exact opposite and there were 2 of us in here that were conservatives and the rest were Democrats, we would never bug in. We would never bug in those types of circumstances. So be picky about where you choose for bugging in or bugging out, and be aware of what you're surrounded by. And riding out a crisis in a jurisdiction that's hostile to you, it's got bad juju written all over it. It's something that's avoidable as long as you plan in advance. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? And the next part to that is your community networks. I know this is a crazy concept these days, but maybe get to know your neighbors. Maybe invite them over for a cookout. Don't tell them about your prepping. Don't tell them about all the stuff that you're doing and that you have stored up. But again, birds of a feather fly together. You're going to meet people that share your values, look at the world through the same lens, and it's good to have a relationship because there's strength in numbers. And you also need to, if you don't go to church and you can't get to church, like we've got one girl, Janet Doe, who's having a problem with that in Ohio, and we're trying to work on it. If you can get to church and you can be part of a church community, that's a good way to meet people who have similar values and morals to you. And the next step I would say is make sure that you've got your documentation in order, so you got copies of all of your things that you may need in case you have to exfil birth certificates, passports, driver's licenses, titles, all that kind of stuff. And then the final piece would be the communication stuff, which again, Dr. Mike and I are working on it as fast as we can. Believe it or not, we've come up with a package for shortwave HF, which is a complex topic. We've distilled it down to something that's easy to understand. And we put together lists. One of the lists, for $800, you can get a radio, an antenna, and all the bits and pieces that you need. And if you are east of the Mason-Dixon Line, or east of the Mississippi, I should say, you'll be able to communicate with everybody in the entire eastern half of the country. If you're west of there, west half of the country. And, that's an unheard of price point for something that actually works, but we've tested everything. We've bought everything. We've tested everything. If you saw my work table right now and the amount of comms gear, you would shit a brick. Which, by the way, I want to mention quickly here before I wrap this up. PocLink reached out to me. They have a new radio coming out that's the same as the one y'all have, the Ultra One, with one distinction. It can also connect to Wi-Fi. So if, let's say, for whatever reason, LTE was down, regular cell network is down, and people are too far away to use just a regular analog signal from a little handset, you'll be able to communicate vis-a-vis anywhere where you have an internet connection. So it's pretty cool. We have prototype units coming. We'll keep you all posted on how they work. So with that being said, I'm going to put a lid on this thing here. I do not have a Carnival hero of the night. Instead, I have a Carnival anti-hero of the night. All right, so here we go. Check this out. This soy boy and his wife are leaving America because of President Trump. What would you like to say to them? One more crazy video, 1 minute, 31 seconds. Again, this is the Carnival anti-hero of the day.
All right, MAGA. You can have it. You can have the whole...
Look at the eyes. Like... Do you think this guy is on SSRIs? Put a 1 if you think he is. Do you think he's demonic? Put a 2 if you think he is. And if you think he's on SSRIs and he's demonic, put a 3 in the live chat.
Damn thing. The whole damn country. You and friggin' Trump, that whole administration can go to hell. I've had enough of you guys. You know, all I ever do is come in and ask questions. And you guys are just as mean as snakes, man. As mean as you can friggin' be. We've had enough. My wife and I are selling our place, and we're moving. We're going to friggin' move to Mexico, man. I'm so tired of you guys. My wife is in the house right now, bawling her friggin' eyes out because of you guys. What the hell's the matter with you? Where's your humanity? You can have it. I'll tell you what. Mark my words on this. Trump's going down. That whole administration is. And I'll watch it from afar. And furthermore, I'm not going anywhere. You know what? I'm going to be here for it. I'm going to be here for when the administration falls. You guys crawl into your little holes and you hide and try to act like you had nothing to do with it. Because they're going down. It's only a matter of time now. I can see it. We can all see it. I'm not going anywhere.
So anyway, I haven't had a chance to look at the chat here to see what y'all came up with, but yeah, I see a lot of number 3 coming in from different platforms. That's interesting. Very interesting. All right. With that being said, I'll tell you what, we will do the conflicted question tomorrow night when I have a few additional panel members with me. So tonight's conflicted question, I read at the beginning. I'll read it at the beginning again tomorrow night, and the panel will answer it tomorrow night when we wrap up. I'm trying to think if I've forgotten anything. Carnival.com, Wasatch Wagyu. Oh, our new Element server, production Element server, is online. Element is open source software built on top of the Signal code. I'm a programmer, network, and systems engineer by trade, and I end up becoming an executive partway through my career. I built the server myself, so it's my server. It's my implementation of the open source software for Element. It's locked down hard, and it also means that the only thing Big Brother could do to us is tell our ISP to disconnect us from the internet. And if they do that, I get systems images every day that I can send to an offshore data center and have us back up and running inside of a few hours. Why am I doing that now? Because the pendulum will swing the other way and they'll be back to their deplatforming and all that sort of stuff. So I want to be proactive, get it done in advance. We've got 10, 11, 12 rooms now in the Element server. You don't have to do anything. Ro and Jason P will reach out to you as they go through the list of all the guardians. They're doing it in a measured fashion so that they can provide you help to make sure that you get on board. When we have everybody on board, Then we'll fully transition to Element from Signal. It's bigger, it's better. It handles 200,000 people instead of 1,000 people. We can do webinars for you guys. Khalid's going to be doing some tactical stuff. Sarah, the gun wizard, the shooting wizard, she's going to be doing some tactical training for you guys. We even have the Guardian Angels, which is a women's only channel. And I caught Bruno trying to get in there today, but, you know, we cut him off at the pass. We figured for sure he'd be the first guy to try to get in there. I'm joking. Of course, Bruno's a great guy. He's funny. He's the ladies' man of the Guardians, right? So anyway, pardon me, with all of that being said, do me a favor, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. We will be back tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, regular time, with our next episode in the Long War series. And I'm looking at my notes here. I've forgotten what it is for tomorrow night. Oh, militias versus federal forces. Anyway, this is Chris Evans signing off. God bless America. God bless our law enforcement. God bless our military. Enjoy the closing video, y'all.